Welcome to the Financial Power Play, the podcast where hockey meets real life money talk. I'm Brett from Uptown Wealth Management, here to help hockey families and professionals create a financial game plan that works on and off the ice. From the rink to retirement, this is your go-to for real stories, smart strategies, and trusted advice. Let's drop the puck and dive in. Hi, welcome to the Financial Power Play. And today I have a great guest with me, Kaydee Duhamel. She's hockey player, still playing hockey. She played competitive when she was a kid. She has 3 kids that have gone through, 2 have gone through hockey. One didn't end up going too far. And so we're here to talk to her about her journey with hockey and how she got her kids through hockey as well. And I think this would be a really good informative discussion with her. So welcome to the episode, Kaydee.
Thanks, Brett. Nice to be here.
Yeah. So first, trying to start off with how you kind of fell in love with the game and how you got started playing hockey like as a kid.
Oh my goodness. I mean, my family were born with skates on. That's what we say. As soon as we can walk, we're trying to skate. So I actually got involved in figure skating to start. And that's how I learned how to skate and then moved into hockey and fell in love with it right away. Came up through the ranks and played competitive hockey all my life until I aged out. Finished my last year was actually just a high school year. Got out of the serious competitive and just went and played and had fun with my friends. And then college and all that fun. And then once I had kids, got into coaching.
So how was I guess a lot of people like women's hockey or girls hockey now is really booming and growing really fast. How was it when you started? Did you play girls hockey or did you play with the boys?
I was in the boys. So fun fact about me is I'm trans. So I grew up playing in the boys, played very competitive, AAA, a little bit of junior as well. And then I ended up transitioning later in life. So a lot of my life was male hockey focused, and with my kids, I was dad, I was coach, I was all that fun stuff.
So then you also said that, so yeah, so I guess playing men's hockey and then now, now you said you're continuing to play still.
I just want to play. I just love the sport.
Yeah, yeah.
So any chance I get to put skates on and get out on the ice with a stick, I'm going to take it.
Then you got into coaching, I guess, when you had your kids. So how was that coaching and dealing with all the other parents around and
I mean, parents are always fun to deal with. I don't think it really matters what sport you're in. Um, Parents are looking out for the best interest of their kids and want to see the best, want to see them perform. So navigating that's always fun. And but no, I did it for the kids. I did it to be with my kids. Started them same as I started, just right away as soon as they could stand and skate. I put them in skates, and my oldest wasn't a fan actually. She didn't take to the skating. She went on to other things and dance and swimming and soccer. So, and then my other 2 youngest, my son who's in the middle, um, he just loved the sport, right? That was our time together. That was our weekends together. That was our early mornings. And then our youngest daughter, she got into it very, very early, picked it up quickly. She became a goalie, which in the hockey world, when you're talking finances, makes it even more fun. But she ended up playing with the boys competitively. She was a very, very talented goalie. So I've got, 3 amazing kids that, although very different personalities, but all very talented in their own ways.
yeah. So did any of the kids that played hockey, did they want to pursue it further, like to play? I know you said that they're in university now and you're paying tuition, but are they playing in university or did they have that aspiration or?
No, unfortunately, both my kids inherited my bad knees. And my son actually played football. He was competitive football, and that kind of took him out. He wants to get back into hockey, but he's focusing on school and work. And actually, both my youngest kids work in the arenas. My son drives a Zamboni while going to college. So
Yeah.
you know. And then the youngest, yeah, she got a job at the arena as well and focused on work. And now she's just looking to do that. I don't know if she'll get back into it or not.
Yeah. So to go back just to the coaching quickly, how did you navigate that being, I guess, parent and coach?
I mean, that's when we're at the arena, I'm just coach. Right? That was the rule that I had with my kids because there's no favoritism on the ice. I'm coach at the arena. I can be the parent in the car after, on the way home, on the way there, but when we're at the arena, I'm coach and they are one of the players. So I expect the same effort levels. I expect the same discipline, which at times it gets hard because like they are your kids. You do want to see them get the little extras, but you can't do it. So my focus was on teams, not individuals.
Right. That's good because I find that a lot of parents who get into coaching, they're coaching because they want to be behind the bench, they want to control, but then they also want to be able to. They also favorite their kids a lot, and give them ice time more than they should, and
But you see that a lot.
yeah. So there are some parents out there, and I'm sure you're probably one of them that does kind of try to separate it and uh, play them based on where they should be played on the team, and not sort of favor them. I know it's hard not to, but
No, I was lucky. My kids were very understanding. Um, and it's a little easier, like with my youngest being a goalie, she's getting every second game anyways, and it's not a favoritism, it's a fairness at the time. And yeah,
so
performance and effort.
are they still playing like rec at school or anything, or they haven't put on
No,
the skates at all?
my son's talking about it, but he hasn't got to it yet.
Yeah, and your daughter hasn't put on the skates.
No, not since she stopped playing. It was hard that final year. I had them both on the same team in the final year that I coached, which was, it was amazing. It was so much fun. Um, we ended up winning a tournament that year. We ended up in the finals right at the end. So our final game together was a championship game of a tournament, and that was just a great way to go out.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, because as a goalie, maybe she'll realize it later on when she's done school that everyone's looking for a goalie all the time, especially in men's leagues, and you could probably make a little bit of money on the side
Oh yeah,
as a goalie.
absolutely. Yeah, so she got a good head on her shoulders and good focus on life right now. And like you say, once things calm down, not school full time and work all the time, then I'm sure they'll get back into it.
Yeah, that's good. All right, so let's transition a little bit to the financial challenges and stuff that came with you going through hockey. So when you said to me that you were a single income household when they were playing, and you were kind of just trying to make ends meet and budgeting. So where did you get started? Like, how did you start? Like, you probably were kind of in a little bit of chaos when hockey first started paying. So tell me how that got started, and then how you kind of got into like getting more organized.
I mean, the chaos at the beginning, you think you nailed it there. Like it's just you don't know what's coming at you. Um, my son was a little simpler. I knew what to expect with him, but then with my daughter, she got into the more competitive hockey, being a goalie. So fortunately for me, being a single income home when they started playing, time was the hard part to budget. It really was, uh, because of the cost of hockey and where I work. I do work in the mining industry, which did at the time allow me to work a lot of extra hours. So any extra hours I could get in at work, that was going towards the hockey fund.
And then, so how did you talked about like robbing Peter to pay Paul. So what did that look like to your family, like during those years they were playing? Like, how did you maybe budget
Goodness.
or get through your day to day?
I mean, through the winter was tough. It was always tough, right? The credit cards were out for The travel, the tournaments, like you're looking at going away on a tournament, it's $1,000 weekend easily. So the credit card comes out, and then so you're robbing from there to pay your way down and the gas and the equipment and everything involved. And then once hockey season came through, I kind of had a hefty bill the first few years. So that's when the overtime really kicked in to make up for all of that. And just constantly playing catch up. And it was tough at times. It was.
So how did you get through that those times when you like were kind of struggling, I guess, to kind of live outside of hockey and then also pay for hockey? What did you do anything specific to get you through those days or
I mean, life was just hockey at that point, right? The extras kind of went away. Like there was no travel, there was no. So you definitely make the sacrifices. You're trying to eat well, you're trying to eat enough, but grocery budgets come into play. Like all your bills come into play, so you're very carefully watching your spend on all different levels. Like you say, if you got to sacrifice, you got to sacrifice. So um, I was just like I said, I was very, very fortunate in my career to be able to put in the extra hours because there's no way you can do it on one salary without. I couldn't have done it without the extra hours anyways.
right? And then you talked about like putting together a budget and that kind of stuff. So how did you get to like realize I need to write this numbers down, put the budget together? Did you do this on your own? Did you have someone help you?
I actually did it on my own. I do just set up a spreadsheet for myself, but by the time I was doing that, it was almost too late. So anybody who's dealing with kids in hockey, the quicker you can get a budget set out and um, stick to it, the better, because equipment isn't cheap. Travel isn't cheap. Hotels aren't cheap. So you have to know your limits when it comes, and then any chance you can get, like do the ride shares, do the shared rooms, do the um, whatever you need to do. If you want your kids in hockey, you are sacrificing something. So
Yeah, for sure, sacrificing stuff. And that's kind of where I'm kind of trying to come in and help with that budgeting and that kind of stuff. A lot of people have a hard time putting a budget together. So did you create like a Excel spreadsheet? Did you write it down on paper? How did you do the budget?
I had an Excel spreadsheet on my desktop of my computer um, that I was crunching all the time as the bills came in, filling it in and seeing where the money was going. And again, but I was constantly pulling from credit to get through. And it was 2 years after my kids stopped playing where I finally got caught up on the hockey side of things and then started to get on with the life. So if you can avoid that big borrow, I highly suggest it. Right, set that budget early and stick to it.
So I guess you reviewed your budget on a weekly, monthly basis or
Yeah, sometimes weekly. Like yeah. So way I was paid was twice a month. So every time I was looking at what was coming in, what was going out, it was usually at least every 2 weeks. I was taking a peek at that budget and making sure it was manageable.
right. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I would suggest that to anyone who's looking or in the hockey world that's trying to budget. You need to look at your budget frequently to make sure you stay on track. And then you said that you use a lot of your credit cards to pay for some of this hockey and that kind of stuff. So, and now I think you said to me that you're back on track and you're doing well financially now. So, how did you sort of start to pay down some of that debt? Like, did you have a strategy, and what was that kind of strategy that you did?
I mean, the strategy at first was survival. Unfortunately, right? We had the big economic crunch, and we saw interest rates really skyrocket on mortgage a few years back, and I got caught in that mess. And by the time we got our mortgage locked down and everything, we were able to actually, we sold the house and I'm in a new place now. So it was kind of that uncertainty at that time where everything seemed to be spiraling out of control as far as our economy went, where I had to do a stop and no, reset, look at that budget again, um, and kind of like my world kind of blew up with my transition as well. So, uh, but again, because I was fortunate where I was in life, and we did have the house, we did have assets set up and investments that I was able to pull from. Without all of those, without that budget, without those um, investments set up from years before, I wouldn't have been able to do it. There would have been no way at all.
And did you have did you have more than one credit card maxed out, or four credit cards maxed out? Okay, so where did you start getting to pay those down? Did you just start paying every single one together, or did you start with one and then work your way
I
down?
started with my highest interest. I focused on the highest interest because those ones get you. And then I would focus on that one. The other ones I would make just over the minimum until that one was down, and then I'd move to the next. And then once everything kind of flipped in my world and reset, now the new house, fresh credit, everything's kind of gone now. But it took a while. Like paying down the high rate credit card took me far too long. Far too long. Watch those interest rates. There's lots of offers out there if you're stuck like that to get that down, but just don't get yourself in that situation. Get ahead of it.
Yeah, for sure, for
Like,
sure. And so now your kids are aged out, and you sort of shifted your world now. How are you thinking about money and planning now compared to back then?
I'm definitely much more ahead than what I was back then. Right, my budget is a lot tighter to make sure that I have. I say my son's in college. My youngest is in her last year of high school now. She'll be moving on. So it's making sure that those are there and that I'm not anywhere near uh, reaching the need for any credit. So
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and so that's good that you went through it with hockey, and then now with your kids in post secondary school and paying for that, you've kind of already got the foundation down and that kind of stuff. So, what do you see like long term goals for yourself? Like in terms of like where do you see yourself going? Are you going to get back in? I know you're just playing hockey, but do you think you're going to get back into coaching? You're just going to keep playing as long as you can, um, and then I guess, like, I know you're working with someone in terms of your finances. So are you able to now start saving for your retirement and that kind of stuff?
yeah, the retirement savings is going very well. The last couple of years, right? Be able to put the extra there. I'm 20 years into my career right now, so next 10 years definitely focused on having that retirement savings in place, but also new adventures because I do have a new grandson. So let's see if he gets into hockey, then maybe I will get back into coaching.
That'd be probably more fun to coach your
Mhm.
grandson
I'm sure it would.
than your own kids.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
different
I'm looking
different
forward
world.
to that. It is a different experience, but it's very fun.
So just to sort of just finish off, I guess couple quick questions. What advice would you give to it's your daughter that has the kid? Yeah. So advice would you give to your daughter now when she starts to get her kid into hockey?
The budget right away. That's where my I don't want to say my failure was, but um, if there was a failure, it was I didn't budget right from day one. I didn't look at what the overall cost was going to be because it was still uncertain. It was like like the kids were new in hockey. I'd never coached. I'd never had kids in hockey, so those first few years was kind of winging it. And there's so many resources out there now and people you can reach out to help with the budgeting if you need to. There's so many, like even just you going through this and helping people to kind of see the need for planning, right? Because life's full of uncertainties. So as much as you can plan, make sure you get ahead of it.
That's good. And was there any like big money mistakes or regrets that you have during the hockey days?
The relying on those credit cards too much for hockey tournaments, right? So I didn't budget those first few years for the tournaments, the trips away, the hotels. You know, you got to feed yourself when you're there. You got gas in the vehicles when you're going. You know, I did not set those tournament budgets tight enough.
Right. Yeah, so I talk about that a lot too, that you need to, it's not just the registration fees and the equipment. There's a whole bunch. Once you get into it, there's all the travel, and especially if you're playing at a high level, and you got the tournaments, you'll forget about tournaments, and not just going to the tournaments, but the hotels, the food, and all the extra costs that the kid wants, the hoodie and all the gear and stuff too. So
Always, yeah. Yeah, they always schedule one tournament mid-December and one mid-January, and you got try and fit the holidays in between. And yeah, no, it gets stressful.
yeah. So let's end off with one sort of I guess good thing. What's one memory that you're going to take away from all this hockey experience with your kids?
It's that final year. It's those championship games with both my kids on the ice at the same time, being right there on the bench with them, celebrating with them, having the heartache together, just that closeness that, you know, it disappeared once hockey season was gone, right? That was like we spent so much time together as a group that year. And then once that was done, it's just the time together faded. So it was spending those hours, spending that work, those, you know, like I said, those cheers, those tears together was something I'll never forget.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's one of the things I always tell people that are just getting into hockey now. Enjoy the ride. My son also is in it. Just finished his U16 year, so we're almost. I mean, almost on minor hockey. Still got a lot of hockey left to play, but it's now going to be a different road. And so I just tell people just enjoy the ride, because there was times where I didn't enjoy the ride and I got too wrapped up in it. So
no, always look for the joy. Any chance you get, find that joy.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, this was great, Kaydee. Thanks for coming on. This is great advice and great perspective for people just getting into the sport, to see how you kind of went through it and budgeted and made sure your finances were in place.
All right, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in to the Financial Power Play. If this episode sparked something for you, be sure to subscribe, share it with your hockey crew, and leave a review. Want to talk about building your own financial playbook? Visit uptownwealthmanagement.com to book a free consultation. Until next time, stay focused, stay flexible, and keep playing your game.